Man, would y'all look at that? The sky's leaking. Literally. Not really rain, just a lot of water coming out of the sky. It's just been that way for a couple of days. Y'all seen that. That's not what I want to talk about, but I just making an observation. Skies are leaking a little bit. As thoughts come to me, like the sky leaking, I have to mention it if I got a camera nearby, because if not, nobody else will ever hear it. It's kind of... Anyway, I'm going to do something in a video, and I've been thinking about how to do it to make it interesting, because obviously the way I catch fish is not very interesting. So, I'm going to do an intro, just a short intro video, and I may do this tomorrow. It's pretty nice here in central Missouri. It's in the 50s. It's just been gloomy for most of the week. Heading towards more warm days, a little bit more rain next few days. It's actually trying to rain first time right now in several days. Just been drippy drizzly, just whatever. Not bad. But my point is, I'm going to go fishing. Well, we have a tournament next Tuesday. It's going to be 39 degrees that day. Man, I'm going to probably do it anyway, but it's getting harder. Especially when I ain't catching enough fish. Monday's going to be really nice. If I go practice, wherever I find, it'll probably be different. Whatever, if I find anything. Anyway, about this video I'm talking about doing is going to be different. And here's the whole thing. Lake of the Ozarks, well, Truman Lake and Lake of the Ozarks almost same distance from me. But Lake of the Ozarks has been traditionally my home lake mostly over the years. And it's 57,000 acres. 1,500 miles of shoreline. It's just, there's not a whole lot of straight banks. There's a lot of coves, hollers, and creeks. Some bigger tributaries. Pretty much every creek, every holler, every cove is silted in bad in the back. The lake's almost 100 years old. It's a deep lake overall. Of course, like some tributaries, some creeks have some shallow water. The upper river is more shallow. Where we're fishing lower end, it's deep. It's 40 to 100 foot deep everywhere. Well, that's deep enough. There's deeper, of course. Lake's pretty clear. There hadn't been much of this rain that does anything really all year. And clear water. Of course, wintertime can be your friend. All that is leading up to the point that 57,000 acres of water is a lot of water. The number one thing to catching fish is finding fish. Bottom line, I know that. And I found a lot of fish. Somebody made a comment in a video the other day that maybe I wasn't catching anything. I'm catching tons of fish, y'all. I've had days I've caught 60 or 70 bass. I know I've had several tournaments I could have caught that many. I'm just trying to get away from them sometimes. But you got to find quality fish, keeper fish, 15 inchers here in Missouri. So the way we were taught to do that, the way I learned to do that in the late 70s and early 80s, well, that's what this video is going to be about. I'll get to it, I promise. I know you guys are getting tired of this. I'm not as bad as Randy, so I really don't care. Solar Bat Sunglasses still has their sale going on, 50% off. That's a bunch, y'all. And if you spend $100 or more, you get a free hard case. Now, my sunglasses I keep here in the truck all the time, not so much today, even my low lens. I'm going to get them open. These are like $30 sunglasses. They're wonderful, y'all. My everyday sunglasses are better than the stuff you get at Walmart. My performance glasses I wear are the Randy Blockett RB2s and 3s. I can't say enough about how good they are. And so 50% off puts that like $70 for a really good pair of glasses. I would have laughed if you told me I'd spend that much on sunglasses years ago. I spend that much on sunglasses. I have now. So link in the description. Click on that and check it out. Appreciate it. And that's my handy dandy commercial for the day. So, what we were taught. And people still try to talk about this day because it's not a forward-faced sonar thing. It's the using your wits and skill and a little bit of luck and a lot of courage and a lot of work to figure fish out. I think I've done a decent job. I just don't know. I'm struggling. So we were taught to not try to fish the whole lake, obviously, to pick it apart a piece at a time. Now, when I got good, when I was better back in the day, I really was at one time, I'd pick a lake apart in 10-mile sections, maybe a little bit more. Because I knew any given time of the year that the fish would be kind of in this area doing this thing, and then could I duplicate it and then look for other patterns within those patterns, whatever. Ain't happening. So I can't believe that still don't work to a degree. In the wintertime, it's the kind of rock they're on, mostly. Oh, by the way, Lake Ozarks also has 150,000 boat docks. They have bass on them year-round. I'm looking at rock. Behind the dock rock. What kind of rock? This time, that's what I used to do. So here we go. You pick the lake apart and you fish sections of it. So what I've been doing is fishing some of the creeks near where we're fishing, where our tournaments are going out of. And these creeks are, a mile to 3.5 miles long, 3 miles long, maybe the biggest. And pick them apart. Channel swings, flats, backs, fronts, points, secondary points, boat docks, different kinds of rock. Ain't been very successful at it. So I've come up with an idea. I talked to my buddy about the other day, and this idea, it's going to be tough to do. And this ain't practicing for a tournament. This is just trying to gain some confidence I can catch a bass in a certain spot. And y'all let me know what you're thinking about this. I'd like to hear it. Most of the guys watching my channel are older guys, got a lot of experience. And a lot of you guys are saying you're struggling the same way I am. And not just, of course, on my home lakes, on your lakes. I think it's a problem. But there'll be somebody will catch bass Tuesday in this tournament. Somebody will win this tournament. Probably with forward-facing sonar, but somebody's going to do it. It's starting to get wet. Here's what I'm going to do. My buddy Mike. I've done a couple videos fishing with him this summer and fall on his cousin's little lake. About 20 acres so lake. We had a lot of fun. It just don't get no better. And Mike at one time was a serious tournament fisherman, very serious. One of the few guys from around here that was serious as I was. And he did real well for a few years in bigger tournaments. Did real well. But he hadn't tournament fished in 30 years. So he's asking me things, and he can't believe I'm not catching them better. Well, they used to have a place here at Lake Ozarks. Dad had a cabin down here, a true cabin. It was wonderful. Stayed there, fished there with Mike, and it's in a holler, a big cove. Not even that big. I don't know. It may be 20 acres. It ain't much different than his cousin's pond, lake. It has a little bit of everything in it. It's got the boat docks, of course, everybody does. It's mostly steeper banks, got some little flat stuff in it. It's got 1, 2, 3, 4 distinct secondary points. Couple coves off the main holler. Got some transitional stuff. As a matter of fact, the main lake point is a bluff, a big old bluff going into it. So what I'm going to do, my plan is to spend hours in that one cove. Hours, like 4 or 5 hours, maybe a whole fishing day. Because anymore this time of year, a whole fishing day is 6 hours. And not leave it. It'll be hard to do. I will also pretend there's a dam. Geet Hibden told Mike and me that years ago. Guido said, pretend there's a dam across there, and that's as far as you can go and fish everything and fish it good. It makes all the sense in the world. Now, this is not specifically a perfect spot, except this time of year, it's not a bad spot. I've never won a tournament in there. I've caught some good bass in there. I've watched Mike back and pull out of the boat once in there in a red man tournament. But it's got a little bit of everything. And you can't tell me in 20 or so acres of water, and I'm just trying to picture in my head, it's close to that, maybe a little bit more than that there's not a keeper bass or more. I'm going to go into that holler, and I'm going to fish it like it's all there is. In fact, that is the whole thing. How's that for kind of weird? Now, that bluff It's steep going out to the other side too, but it's not a real defined point going out the west side. The east side is sharp a point, 90-degree turn to a point off a bluff. I'm gonna fish a little bit of that bluff to start off because it'd be stupid not to. What if that first 100 yards of that bluff is loaded with bass? I fished up that bluff a few weeks ago practicing for one of these tournaments. And it was loaded with little Kentuckies eating a jerk. I mean, little dink 6-8 inch Kentuckies eating that jerk bait. Man, it's really raining now. First time in several days. Tell me what's wrong with the idea. It's got a little bit of everything. It's plenty deep. The first thing, so I don't have to talk about all this while I'm doing it. Well, of course, I'll mention some of this. I'll go into that thing and I'll probably graph it, which I haven't done since I come back to fishing. And my graph settings, and they're probably due for updates, and I'm having a hard time reading it as well as I used to read my old stuff. But I'll go in and I'll graph it, and I'll do my old zigzag back and forth, because you just graph down a bank, you just get that one picture, I'm going to go back and forth, just to get a feel for what's going on, especially where the bait fish are at. It's going to be disconcerting if there's no bait fish in the thing. There will be. Brush piles. Mike used to put loads of brush in at their dock. And other places, I tell you some stories, some outlaw stuff me and him did long time ago. Man, that was a long time ago. About this time of year. He talks all the time about that brush, how it used to roll off, because all these banks are fairly steep, and how he thinks there's still a bunch of it out there. I went in there a while back, and I kind of just went down the middle of the cove with a graph on, and I got in front of his place, and there was junk down there. I am going to see if there's any cool fish around. There's some visible stuff. Somebody knocked a bunch of stuff, sawed off a bunch of stuff, knocked it in the water, but it's going to be pretty shallow, but I'll probably throw to it anyway. I'm going to fish this thing like it's all I've got to fish. I say I'm going to. It's going to be tough to do that. Because I'm going to fish it and fish it again and probably fish it again. I'm going to fish it with a variety of baits, variety of techniques, and depths. From zero, because I've caught bass too many times December, I can see them hit the bait, to, man, I don't want to fish 30 or 40 foot deep, but I might. I don't want to catch bass that deep anymore. I've kind of give up on that hurting those fish. Now, I think it hurts them more in the summertime. But I'll fish to deeper water. Shouldn't have to. Truthfully, it's not cold. Water temperature is going to be in the 40s, mid 40s probably, generally most everywhere. Maybe not in the very backs. Well, I mean, it's going to be in the 50s and upper 50s, and this rain is 53 degrees. It's definitely not getting any cooler right now. I'm going to fish a variety of baits. Actually, they're all in the boat loaded up except one more rod I put together. Because I use spinning rods this time of year a lot. I don't like spinning tackle. But when it comes down to serious jerkbait fishing in winter, which we're almost there, I'm throwing on a spinning rod most of the time, 99% of the time. Because a spinning rod and an 8-pound line, man, I have a hard time with 6. I'll do it if I have to. But spinning rod and 8-pound line makes that jerkbait do interesting things. We're not quite there yet. You get that water temperature upper 30s, low 40s to about 44. That's where that thing shines. But so I think I've got 4 or 5 spinning rods in the boat. Well, and the other one I got set up to go to the boat. Jig, my grubs that I make, my hula grub style bait that I make, gets it. Tube, to you younger, fat gets it. Oh yeah, always on a jig that's like a shaky head this time of year. That's the way I like to throw it. I keep it on the bottom mostly. And a jerkbait, of course, because a jerkbait's always this time of year. It's just a gimme. I don't know what the conditions are going to be tomorrow. I think a little bit of sun, and not much wind. Jerkbaits are just like top waters. It helps to have some overhead darkness and wind and things. But whatever, I'm still going to throw a jerkbait. And it's not a lot of banks suited for that. Not a lot of banks suited for a crankbait. But I always have this time of year crankbaits on, from square bills to deep we are. I like a bomber, Model A a bunch, to the wiggleworts and the rock crawler style baits that I make. of course. That's kind of a commercial thing. I've got a collection of wiggle warts. I don't throw my wiggle warts. It don't hurt so much to lose one of them. I've got some other kind of trick baits. I'm a man stingray grub. It's not quite time for that. Y'all know what that is? Yeah, I like that stingray grub, both on the bottom and as a suspended bait. I am not planning on doing a drop shot, but I have the stuff to do it because if those fish are suspended, if I find fish, I'm going to beat this thing apart. This 15, 20, 25 acres of water. It's not even as big as that pond we've been fishing up there north. But 15, 20 acres, I'll bet. I'm going to hurt it. I'm going to get bored. I'm going to know every rock in it by the time I'm done. So that's my story. I'm sticking to it. Y'all get that? I hope you like that. Don't know how else to talk about it. I'd like to hear from you. It's me trying to prove some things to myself and trying to get some confidence myself. It's not practicing for the tournament. It'd be awesome to get some bass in there, something I can go back to in a tournament, or something I could use somewhere else. I'm not counting on that. I am strictly trying to prove to myself that I can catch, because there's at least a keeper in there, if not a bunch of them. And there probably is several keepers. So that's what I got. Thank you guys for watching. Please, again, let me know what you're thinking. Hope the sky quits leaking. I don't really feel like doing that. God bless you guys. Talk at you soon.